Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Carpe Diem Living podcast. I am your host, Shane Gitmed, and I am so excited to have our guest today, Laura, who's going to tell us all about yoga and meditation. So yeah, Laura, tell us, what you do and how you got started.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I'm a certified yoga and meditation teacher. I practice for myself already since my teens, pretty much. I was in a ballet school. I had a passion for dancing and moving, and but I was also dealing with a lot of pressure, physically, mentally. It was a very strict, very serious time. I was dancing like 6 days a week throughout my whole high school. So I wanted to be a professional dancer at the time, and yoga. We had some yoga stretches, and I got a little book from my grandmother, with yoga stretches that I really enjoyed. And so I used it first more for like the physical and the flexibility part. And then I always felt good with it. So it helped ease anxiety, and I was also dealing with eating disorders at the time. So it helped me overcome that. Yoga played a big role. So I kept doing it. I had my morning routine with yoga, and then later I learned meditation as well. And so, in 2011, I started teaching. I'm from the Netherlands, and I've been all over the place. My husband is from the US, and we lived in California for a while. And then we relocated back to Europe. And in Belgium, we lived and worked there. At our local gym, they were looking for yoga teachers, and my husband told the manager that I was a yoga teacher, and he pretty much got my first job.
Wow, that is amazing. I love that it kind of snowballed. It started from one thing, and you're like, oh, I'm interested in this now. And I love that you've been doing it for so long, because a lot of people, they don't realize like how beneficial yoga is. And for me, I think growing up, I kind of knew, like in high school, like I did dance, I did hula, Tahitian type of dance. I never did ballet. I tried, but it was not for me. My younger sister, she took ballet lessons. She was just more suitable for it. But yeah, that is so awesome that it started with just ballet. With ballet, did you have other family members that danced as well?
Yeah, actually, my cousin was also in the same school. I think she's 1 or 2 years younger than me. So she was in a different year, but a different group. But yeah, it was, actually in our family. And then another cousin from my mom's side was also really into ballet. I looked up to her. She's a little older, and she's beautiful. And I really looked up to her, her wearing the tutus or like the folkloric ballet clothes.
That is so, so cool. I guess with yoga, so with yoga and meditation, I guess like my question is like, so they go hand in hand, but if you were to like really like describe like what it does to the body, how does the breathing of meditation and the stretches, like how does that really impact your overall health?
It helps. Yoga's actually everything. There's a lot of different parts. There's 8 limbs, 8 aspects to it, and meditation is one of those, and breath work. And then you have the physical, the postures. The overall, it all helps to slow you down, to calm your mind, and get out of that stress mode. And then you have, the physical yoga. You have, Bikram or power yoga, vinyasa yoga, like dynamic, fast paced.
That's where like when I did yoga, I started back in, off and on since like 2015. And I mainly did it just because, it did help me calm down, and I have anxiety. So for me, it was kind of nice to like unplug, slow down, and just kind of hone in on myself, because I tend to be like a workaholic and like I love bouncing around with different projects and things. So like yoga really has been beneficial in that way for me. I guess with out of all the different types of yoga, you know, practice, which one's your favorite and which one would you recommend for beginners?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's see. I would say actually more the slower type of yoga, like yin yoga or hatha yoga. Hatha is the you can say that's the umbrella, and then you have different styles under that. Those are all the different poses, but it's a nice slower paced style of yoga. And I think we can all use a little bit of slowing down. I don't think that's a bad thing. And but there are days where you feel like I need energy. I need, you know, I can't just live on coffee, or I need, you know, I need something sustainable. So then, yeah, like Kundalini yoga or Vinyasa yoga, power yoga, those are great too to give yourself a boost. So for me, in my personal practice, it really depends on how I feel. So when I'm in that workaholic mode, when I'm really busy, I need to slow down in my personal practice. And so then I do more yin or more restorative yoga, or I just do one pose for like 20 minutes. Yeah.
There's actually a pose, and I can't remember the name, and it's towards the end of a yoga class, and some people actually fall asleep. I think you know what?
Shavasana.
Yeah.
Shavasana, like, corpse pose. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I've been guilty of it where, you know, I've had like a long work week, and I go there, you know, towards the end of my week, and I get into that pose and I like kind of doze off and just like a nap now. And I don't take naps. So this is the one thing to get me to like turn off in the middle of the day. I think great. Yeah, I think what interests me the most about yoga is that there's so many variations, and even like the hot yoga. Like I have friends that have told me like that's super, you know, it helps a lot. And I don't know if you've heard of Hot Works at all. I don't know if it's there in Florida, but there's a chain of gyms where it's called Hot Works, and you can do like Pilates or yoga in like an infrared sauna space.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It sounds really intense. So I was like, I don't know about that. It's especially since it's been so long since I've done yoga in general. I was like, I don't know. But yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so you mentioned the
hot. Yeah, I think hot yoga. I personally, I'm not attracted to it, but right now I'm in Florida, so I'll pass out. Yeah. I won't do it. And also for, I think it's okay if it attracts you, if it gets people to do yoga in the first place. And a lot of people start there, and then they end up liking more yin yoga or different styles. So they start exploring different yoga styles. So I think that's fine that option is there. I do want to say that you have to be careful, because when it's hot, then you're warmer. You don't have to really warm up your whole body as much as normally. And then you can think, so it kind of creates this illusion that you're warm, but you still need to do a warm up. And I think, in my opinion, I think you're more prone to injuries. So I would be careful with hot yoga.
Yeah. That's why I was, I don't know if it's heat exhaustion or whatever it is. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then another question, since I know like you work with a lot of, mompreneurs in this space on, why yoga and meditation is important. So during pregnancy, so, there's a lot, I mean, I was one of those people where I wanted to do, yoga during pregnancy, but where I live, they didn't have as many options for that. So I was like, okay, I guess there's not much I can do. But I guess like, how does that help? Like, how does yoga during pregnancy help in general? Like with, baby, mom, that's one part that I've never really understood. So explain that aspect.
Sure. Yeah. I think that, even if there's no prenatal yoga available, getting any exercise, any physical exercise, doing some breathing is really beneficial for the mom to be. And walking is great. Prenatal swimming, I did that when I was pregnant. It felt really good, very soothing. And I did my own prenatal yoga. And to me, I feel like my whole life prepared me, and my whole yoga routine prepared me for birth.
Oh my gosh.
Everything,
yeah, exactly, because you're already so active. So you're way ahead of most of
yeah, but even a little bit, just doing the meditations, just because I had so much anxiety around so many things, so many things that you're afraid of, and
course.
fear of the unknown, and physical discomfort, of course. So it was very, very comforting. And once I was in labor, I really felt like everything that you learn in yoga to surrender and trust it. That just all came together for me.
Wow. I wish I had known that. Because my labor story, I know there's people that have had longer, times of how long they were in labor for, but my son just did not want to come out. And I know if I had only been more active during my pregnancy, it probably wouldn't have been as difficult. Yeah, because at that time, because I've been working remotely since 2012. And so I'm used to, sitting at a desk at my chair and not moving very much during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time I was still working, quite a bit and at my computer. So I didn't do too many exercises. Most of it is because I was afraid. And I think that's another thing with moms is we're so afraid of hurting the baby. And we want to make sure that whatever exercise we do is safe and, something doesn't go wrong. And so that was why I was kind of reluctant about it. I should have done more research and probably just done it, go to prenatal yoga. But
well, like I said, if it's available, or any other exercise, and of course you want to do everything with caution, and prenatal yoga is perfect because there's certain poses you really have to avoid. As when you're pregnant, you cannot hold your breath, or there's a lot of things you have to keep in account. So prenatal yoga is great for that. But like I said, whatever you can do that gives you comfort, any type of exercise, moving, is beneficial.
Oh, that's great. Another thing that I've noticed with yoga is there's now more yoga classes for kids, unique, yoga class. And I thought that was just wonderful, because I know that if, we expose our children early on, they'll take that as they grow older, and they'll understand this type of practice is important for the mind, for the body, for the breathing. I'm guilty of not breathing so well. When I'm really anxious, I tend to hold my breath, but not because I want to. I just don't even realize that I'm doing it. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like my chest is tight. Well, why? Because I'm not breathing. So it's one of those things, it really, you would think you just know it, but sometimes you have to remind yourself, which is really interesting. Yeah. Do you have a son or a daughter?
Daughter.
Does she do yoga with you?
Yes.
Oh, so
yeah.
cute. How old is she?
She is 5, almost 6.
Oh
yeah.
Gosh, that is perfect. And I've seen classes for kids even when they're little. I think even 1 or 2. And I have a son and he's 3, and he is just the most active kid. He's very wild, where he has his very gymnastic type of energy, and then
he's a boy.
And then times where he just wants to sing and dance. So I was always I don't think he's gonna be interested, because he's so high energy, right? I was I don't know if he's gonna be interested in doing yoga with me, because he can't even sit still, even if I'm hey, let's do this. So I don't know, maybe in the future I'll try again.
Yeah.
How old was your daughter when you started doing yoga with her?
That was a couple of years ago. It's just kind of playfully, because I wanted to do my morning routine, so she was around, and she'll crawl under me or climb on me, and it was kind of playful. And then she was in that it still is in that imitation age, everything I do is just copying, so I make I have a YouTube channel, and I make my own yoga videos. And now she'll grab the camera, she knows how to set it up, and she'll film herself, and she'll teach her poses. It's all, unicorn and princess poses.
I love that. Yeah. Especially, with COVID and everything, classes, like no one can go to the gym, no one can go anywhere. And I know people like myself, like I love actually physically going somewhere to do like a fitness class, because I feel more engaged versus like being in my own home. That's just me. I don't know. But yeah, that was the next question I was going to ask you. Like, so you're teaching classes through YouTube. Are you doing any like live classes where people can join you like on a live like this, or?
In my private coachings, then it's live through Zoom. Yeah. Nice. But not at the moment, I don't do live group classes. I just pre-record, and I just find it for now easier. I'm used to pre-recording my videos, and the group it's still a little bit challenging. I'm still figuring out, the technical part, but one-on-one is great. That's
perfect. No, because especially right now, I know so many people are just trying to find outlets, into like putting their energy into something, because people are just either bored at home or they don't, they're just like going they're crazy. So that's awesome that you do that. I guess, let me see. So with meditation, so for beginners, so I'm asking mainly for myself too, like, because I've always wanted to become, someone who meditates daily. Like that's actually a really big goal of mine that I have yet to get to. And I'm very much one of those people that have, very goal oriented, and I just like to master things. So I guess for I guess like me, someone who, who works a lot, has anxiety, but needs to slow down, what, I guess, are these like 30-day challenges for meditations? Are those effective, or would you say start small, or how does one really get into the mode of like, oh, I need to meditate? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, start small. So today I have a Facebook group with mompreneurs, and we just did like a couple of minute meditation, and I want to do next week like a 1 minute meditation challenge for 7 days. We all have 1 minute, right?
Yeah. It sounds like not very long, but when you're actually just sitting there, it feels like a long time.
It does. It's hard to sit still. Yeah. So start small, start with 1 minute, because when I first started meditating, I set my timer for 20 minutes and I thought I was going crazy. I was like, I can't do this, and I'm a failure. I can't stop my thoughts. And then I learned, like, it's okay. Your thoughts are going to be there, just bring your attention back to your breath, and, consciously let go of your thoughts. And so, starting small is great. Like right when you wake up, take a minute, place like one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Take a nice deep breath, take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Just connecting with your breath, your body. Don't grab your phone. Don't check your email, social media, skip all that,
Right. Just silence it. Like, not even the vibration. Just turn it all
off. Far away.
Right.
Yeah. Take that 1 minute and do that every day. And then you'll see, like, it's so small. It's easy to do. And then you start building on that. Then the next week you can do 2 minutes or 3 minutes, you just increase it little by little. Or if you need to drive somewhere, take 1 minute before you start driving. I have anxiety too. And especially if I have to go somewhere, I don't know, and I don't know the way exactly, or I've never been to this place before, I always take a minute to just take a deep breath, extend my exhale. Then when you extend the exhale, you activate the relaxation response. So you're not so stressed out. And it takes 1 minute and you feel difference, and it feels good. So then you'll remember, like, okay, this feels good. I want to do this more.
Right. Yeah. I think it's a routine. And one thing I struggle with, which I know a lot of other parents are struggling with too right now, is because we're all stuck at home, and it feels like as soon as you hit the ground, everything is just full force. Like there's no stopping. It's even harder when you have pets, multiple children. It's just right now, I'm very empathetic towards parents right now with small children.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that's been one of my biggest things, is like, and all of that, the hustle and bustle during the day, it's like a minute. I'm like, when do I have a minute? Like I just either before my day starts or at the end. And the funniest thing about my son is the days where I purposely plan to wake up early. I'm like, okay, normally I'm up by 8, but I'm going to try to plan for like 6:30, just so I have some time to myself. Somehow he knows that I'm going to do that. and he wakes up at the same time.
Right.
Like, I
Yeah.
found him downstairs, like several times actually, hanging out with one of our dogs. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, it's literally the
That
sun.
was not the plan.
I know. And so it's just kind of funny how kids, like, I just feel I call it the spidey sense. Like, they just know.
Yeah.
And like, so that's, yeah. So that's where I'm just like, okay, like, I'm just gonna have to do the best I can. And, you know, he's still 3, so he's still very following me around everywhere. So it's hard to find. But I definitely,
totally.
Meditation is definitely one of the things I want to conquer.
Or even like half a minute, you know, right before you go to bed, you know, just go to bed like 1 minute earlier or half a minute earlier, and then just take that moment to just take a deep breath, just let go of your thoughts, or just let them do their thing, you know, start small. But I agree. And I think it's just a lot, really. It really is very challenging. And same here, a lot of empathy for everybody, you know, going through their struggles. And I think the most important thing is just to have grace for ourselves, to have compassion for ourselves.
Right.
And just understanding that we do the best that we can. And if we miss a day of meditation or being calm, it's okay.
Right.
You survived the day.
Right. It's funny because I'm one of those where, like, if I say, like, you know, I love my calendar and I love mapping things out. I think that's another thing that kind of discouraged me in the past is, like, I'll be really good. Like, okay, I've done like 2-3 days of this. And if I miss a day, I'm like, well, I already messed up, you know, my plan. So then I'm like, so that's like another thing is I have to definitely take that into account. Like, it's okay if you miss, you know, like, just because your calendar has it there doesn't mean that's the law.
Right. Yeah.
I'm one
it was a plan people. And things happen, and, you know, we have kids, and so we got to be a little bit flexible. And and the other thing is that, you know, do look at the things that you did accomplish, you know. It's like, if you normally are used to having childcare while you work, while you get your things done, it's hard because now all of a sudden you're a teacher or you're like a daycare worker.
Right. Exactly.
You know, you're wearing all these different hats. So
yeah, it's as if moms ourselves, like, we already were wearing so many hats, and now it's like, okay, let's tack on like 2 to 3 more. Like, that's how I feel. Like, was your daughter going to already going to school? Like,
she was in preschool, and then partly like daycare kind of on other days. So I would have like 5 days or 4 days to be able to work, and that worked really well. I had my system, had my routine. I planned everything around that, and then the pandemic hit. So that
I hear you. And like for us, so we're in the Bay Area in California, and and I didn't have my son fully in preschool yet. I was already contemplating, okay, like, where should I bring him and things like that. But there's a place called Bay Club, and it's like this country club type of place. And don't worry, we can edit this out. So it's a country club type of place, and it has, you know, your gym, an office area where you can work if you work remotely, or what do you call this? Childcare, like on site. Everything is in one place. So that's where I take, you know, my son when I needed to work. And then when everything closed down, I was like, oh my gosh, like, even those 2 to 3 hours, you know, per day, like, really helped, like having uninterrupted time. And then now we're just stuck at home constantly. So one of the hats that I'm now, you know, navigating, learning is homeschooling. I'm like, okay, I don't really have any other choice. Luckily, a preschool program he did go to briefly, his teacher, she is doing like virtual preschool now, where she has like a whole setup. She'll do like videos and basically taking the learning curve from me, so I don't feel like I have to like create, you know, a what do you call this, an education plan for him. And I'm just like, I am not trained for this. Like, no. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So true. I mean, it's, you know, a lot of parents say, they had to jump into homeschooling, and, you know, and also the children, for them, it's hard too, to all of a sudden, like, okay, so now I'm at home. I have to sit in front of a screen, because
our preschool also organized some Zoom classes, you know, with these
Yeah.
little preschoolers.
Oh
And
my
it
god.
was really sweet, but it was so chaotic. And like,
Right. Trying to
yeah,
get
it
them to
was,
stay there. Like, how are they gonna? Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it
That's
was,
quite interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Because I have friends too where they have their older kids, and they're old enough to like really ask questions, and they're like, why can't I just go play with my friends? And that's why
Right.
it's really hard. I mean, even for
Yeah.
small children, they have their little friends that they're used to seeing. If they go, to play spaces, like here we have a lot of play spaces. And they're used to just seeing like their friends like countless times throughout the week, and then they go to nothing, and that's like the biggest challenge for us right now, and what feeds into my anxiety these days. I was like, okay, like, yeah, same with you. I had my whole routine, everything was mapped out. I was like, all right, I got a handle on it, and then this. And so
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just like you said, we just have to do the best we can.
Yeah.
For kids, okay, so I'm really interested in the yoga for kids, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about wanting to kind of change. Like I'm very focused. Obviously, that's why I started this podcast about like holistic and like wellness. Is there like a certain age group that you would like recommend that's best for kids, like my son, who just cannot sit still for the life of him?
Oh yeah, and it has to be age appropriate. So I'm not a kids yoga teacher, so I'm not an expert on that. It's very different than for adults. We can tell adults like, okay, now we're gonna sit still, and they'll listen. But like with kids, that's a whole different story. So with kids, it's a lot more imaginative. Like you have storybooks with the poses, like illustrated as animals, and these books will take them through a whole story or like a fairy tale. And your son is 3 years old, so it's normal that he's super energetic, and he's a boy. So for him it's just really good to get physical exercise, to get that energy out. To force him to sit still, it's just not going to work.
Yeah,
it's just not going to work. They just need that outlet, and that's fine. So on YouTube there are like kids yoga videos that you can do, and their attention span is just really short. So, and my daughter, she can be super patient and self-sufficient and working independently, but she'll do yoga for 10 minutes, and then she'll start doing her own thing, or
right.
walks away, or it's normal. And I was just thinking of one exercise. So for kids, you just make it very imaginative. So now we're going to be a dog, or now we're going to be a snake, and make the sound, and like slither around a little bit. Or but there's one exercise. I'm holding up the phone with my hands, but basically you hold up one hand. Let me see if I can show you. It's a little tricky. Okay. Oops.
No worries.
Yeah. So what you could do, you can try. It's just an experiment, but you can hold up your hand, and then with his other finger, and you can do this together. Like you inhale, you go up, like up the mountain, and then you exhale down the thumb. Inhale up the index finger, and exhale down.
Okay.
And inhale up the middle finger, and exhale down. Inhale up the ring finger, and exhale down. Inhale up the pinky, and exhale down. So then, you took 5 deep breaths with your child. And it's cute because they need, it needs to be interactive. They need to use their body. So you can try
Wow.
a little mindfulness.
Yeah, I would love that.
Him.
Oh my gosh. And see, even for me, like that would be helpful for me, so I can keep track of what I'm doing. So
Right. Yeah.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. Okay, so for yoga, so I guess like part of your self-care. So obviously self-care is like your thing.
Yeah.
I guess like if you want to tell us a little bit about your self-care routine, and like what helps you during this time of COVID, having a small child at home.
Well, I had my personal morning routine already for a long time. Like I wake up really early, like 5 a.m. I work best in the morning. In the morning, I just feel a lot more energized and focused. And at nights, like past 9, I don't do any
Oh,
work or anything anymore. Some moms, they work late at night.
that's
I need
me.
to do it in the morning.
Yeah,
So just
that's a night
knowing,
owl.
and that's fine. Everybody has like a different lifestyle, different constitution, different body. So yoga helped me to find what works best, to know my energy levels. And so yeah, I wake up early, I do my yoga routine, just physical stretching. Sometimes it's, very dynamic vinyasa. Sometimes I do Pilates for keep my core
I
strong.
love Pilates. Oh my gosh.
It goes so well with yoga. And then I sit and meditate. Sometimes a short meditation, sometimes longer. I journal and do some mindset work. And then I get to work, and I do like the most important thing first that I don't feel like doing, but needs to be done. So knock that out of the way. And then it's like my husband goes to work. It's like around 7:30. It's rush hour here. So it's busy, go, go, go. And then, but I already feel like I got a lot done. And
Yeah.
then, in the morning. So that's my morning, my self-care routine. And there are times where I'm really tired and I can't wake up at 5. I wake up like 6:30 or something, like
Really
I
early
only take
for most.
still early.
Yeah. Like what, not sleeping in for you? Wow.
Yeah. But mind you, I still go to sleep like around 9, not later than 10 o'clock, So maybe, for you, that means sleeping in, but maybe you go to bed at midnight. So you need, you still need your good 7 or 8 hours of sleep.
Right.
And there was a time where I would feel really cranky if I didn't do my morning routine. And then I came to a point where I was not attached to that. I was okay with whatever happened. And I felt like that was a big breakthrough in my yoga journey where I was able to just let go of how things should be, and I could just go with the flow and feel okay about it. And even if it was, I woke up in a rush because of whatever circumstances were happening at the time, or maybe it was during a move, or when I first became a mom, I didn't, in the very beginning, I couldn't do my personal yoga routine. But then I would find different ways to get a stretch in or a breath. And that's where I also learned, like, hey, it's okay. It doesn't have to be a whole hour or half hour in the morning.
Right. There's
Even
no
if you take
time. Right.
Yeah, even if it's, as long as you feel good, because what's the use if I'm all cranky, I didn't get my morning routine in, and now everything is ruined, my days,
Right. And that's the beginning of your day. Oh, no.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I do think, I do feel the difference when I do my morning routine. I feel a lot more focused. I feel better in my body because also I sit a lot behind the computer.
Yeah.
And my back starts hurting, my hips are tight, and it's like I'm setting myself up in the morning with some good exercise, physical exercise, and the meditation, the breathing helps me focus. So it helps me be more productive, I feel.
Right. It's really setting up your foundation for the day. And that's something I am aspiring to do because, I've been told by so many people, like, you should stretch, in the beginning of the day with like, those foam rollers where you can like roll your arms out, your feet out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I know I definitely need something like that because I used to have arthritis. And every now and then it'll kind of come up, but it's not nearly as bad ever since I started doing holistic, practices to improve it. But yeah, I feel like, we live in a time where a lot of people, work from home, especially now everyone's working from home. So,
yeah,
just being at your chair, your computer for hours on end, we're not supposed to do that technically. So
technically no. Yeah.
So it's really hard to kind of break out of that and kind of remind yourself, like, get moving.
Yeah. And even with that, like I read this article that sitting is a new smoking or something. Yeah.
That is crazy.
And some health, it was some health article. I'm like, wow, but it is true. We're not made, our bodies are made to move. We are mobile, we are made to move. And but this is the way it is. So what I'm suggesting is, if you're, so you have to work behind a computer, take every 20 minutes just to stand up, stretch out, move your arms a little bit, just arms above your head, take a deep breath, move your legs a little bit, just get the blood flowing.
Right.
And then, get back to work again. And it feels kind of refreshing too, because you're, if you're like this the whole day.
And to slouch. Yeah. So I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's why for me, one of the things I want to get, because I know it would help me in general from, just not sitting all day, is, those stand up, those desks that you can move up and down.
Right.
I really want one of those. I've been eyeing it for so long. I'm like, when I get like my new office, because that's my plan, is get a new office. And yeah, I've heard like great things. Have you seen those desks with even like a treadmill under it, and you're walking while you're on your computer? Like, I mean, that's really nifty.
Yeah.
It'll help a little bit.
Yeah. Anything will help. I don't know. I would get distracted, I think, that I'm walking, and I don't know, I can multitask, but I feel like I get more done when I'm more focused.
Like focused. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I can multitask, but like if my whole body is moving and I'm trying to keep up with typing, I don't know, like if that will work the same. Because I've seen both. I've seen the walking one and the one where it's a bike, like kind of an, as if you're biking.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm willing just to try it, just so I can feel like I'm being more active in my day and I won't feel so guilty. But yeah, that is so cool. So, I mean, I'm just so fascinated that you're from the Netherlands. Like, you were born and raised there?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Netherlands. My father is Dutch, and my mother is Mexican, actually. She moved there a long time ago.
And they met, all these things, yeah.
Yeah, and so my brother and I were born there, went to school there, and I carried that international thing, and now I'm in Florida.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so cool, because a lot of my family are from the Philippines, but I was born and raised in California, so like, I don't know what it's like, to grow up in another country for most of your life, and then you come to the United States. Like, that's just so crazy. But yeah, but Florida is great. I mean, I've been there countless times when I lived on the East Coast. But I mean, so before COVID, were you teaching in-person classes, like at a studio?
Yeah, at a park, to very much in my close circle, because I was teaching actually in Belgium. We've been all over the place.
Wow. Yeah. I'm like, Belgium, is that even close to the Netherlands?
Yes. Yeah. So you have the Netherlands, and then south of Holland, it's a tiny country. Netherlands is small too, but it's it's Belgium. And we lived there, worked there. Our daughter was born there. And when she was 6 months old, so I was actually teaching there. I was working full time and then part time teaching yoga. And when she was born, she was 6 months old, we moved to Florida. My husband is originally from Miami. And so we thought it would be better work-wise for him, more sunshine.
Right.
Yeah, it's those are beautiful countries, but the weather is very dreary, very cloudy. So
wow.
Being in the sunshine state is nice.
Yeah.
And so I took a break actually from teaching, but then, somehow it got out that I was a yoga teacher. So I would teach my some fellow moms that I met at the playground, just in the park, just a little bit of stretching here and there.
Yeah.
And my husband was, he had a job as a park ranger for a Florida state park. And also, once again, word got out that I was a yoga teacher. And so the assistant manager, he wanted his rangers to be healthy and fit and everything, because it's physical, can be heavy work.
Yeah.
So he asked if I wanted to teach yoga. So I was teaching at a Florida State Park to the rangers and volunteers. And that was fun. So that was, it kind of evolved, because I wasn't really sure what am I going to do? I'm a stay-at-home mom for right now. And I was happy with that. I had my personal yoga routine, and I was missing it, of course. The teaching part, I really enjoy, being around people and the students and seeing them benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did miss it. And then, but I was always struggling with the daycare part. I didn't have family close by, and finding a good babysitter. I was, I was always very, it wasn't so easy to find, somebody you can trust. And
I completely understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was okay with, being a stay-at-home mom, but I felt that passion. I felt that urge, like I want to do something.
Right.
So,
and it doesn't
online.
feel like work. Yeah.
Yeah. And I built my website. I started my YouTube channel, and my husband has been really supportive as well. So it started growing from there. And
yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. Like, there's nothing I love more than when we can take things that we're passionate about, that are gifts, and just really be able to share it with the world. And it doesn't, to me, like what I do doesn't feel like work. Like, this podcast is not work. I am so excited to meet people. I mean, you're all the way in Florida. I'm in California.
Yeah.
We live in an amazing time where we have this type of technology. And so I figured, like, it would be so great to be able to talk with other experts, people that do this for a living, and learn from them. This is exactly what this podcast is for. Because, I'm sure there are a lot of moms that are like, I want to get into yoga, but I don't know too much about it. And, that's why you come on and tell us more and explain it. Yeah, that's amazing.
It's great. And also for my Facebook group, it's growing, and you feel a sense of community. You have things in common. There's differences. You learn from each other. It's very diverse. And at the same time, you're going through the same struggles. And, it's right. It's nice. And what I really like about it is I love the yoga, the meditation part, and the yoga is very gentle. I'm not going for any acrobatic, crazy, fancy yoga flows. Yeah. It's to calm, like relax and calm and stress release and all that. But at the same time, also to keep that space open because they are very, as you are, like, you have your passion, you have your podcast, that's also a part of self-care. It fills you with joy and creativity. It's your outlet. And I think that's really important. That needs to be nurtured as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I mean, for me, like, especially with COVID, I think one of the hardest things I had was I can't see my friends. I can't hang out with them too. And I was like, I am like, I mean, sure, I can talk to my son and my dogs, but I'm like, that's not hey.
No.
Yeah, so there was a time where I told my friends, I'm like, we got to have like virtual coffee dates more often or something. Like, this is just not okay. Like, I need the FaceTime. So I think, with COVID, that's where this idea sparked. And I'm so grateful for it because, like you just said, like, it really just feeds into like what you love and brings you joy. And now I feel like I'm just hanging out with people all the time with this show.
It's great.
Yeah. It really, really is. So, so you mentioned your groups. Yeah. Just tell us more on like where everyone can find you. I'll make sure to put all your links on the episode. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So you can find me on Facebook. My Facebook group is called Self-Care Secrets for Mompreneurs. Yeah. And I have, well, when you see that Facebook group, you'll find my YouTube videos as well, and my website. It's all there.
Perfect. And one thing with the podcast that I've done is I've created a Podcast Insiders Facebook group. So each one of my guests that have been on the show, I can have you guys in there. And that way, all the people that are interested in learning more about what they've heard from your episode, they can find you directly in there too. So it'll be like another way to make sure that whoever wants to, learn about our guests, wants to interact with other listeners, that's like our own little community. So I'll
great.
add you to that too. So it'll be like an thing for us. Yeah.
Nice. We can have coffee again.
Yes, I would love to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I swear, like, I mean, it's funny that you mentioned the coffee side, cause I used to be a person that loved like really strong coffee, like espresso and everything, but it was actually giving me like adrenal fatigue, and I didn't know that. So I like recently I switched to coffee alternatives like mushroom coffee. I don't know if you know that, but yeah,
the reishi.
And it helps so much. Like, it has the same taste and everything, but I'm not like, I don't feel like a crash leader. So yeah, we can definitely have more of these. I love chatting with you. This has been so much fun, and I'm definitely going to, implement the tips you mentioned, because I know I need it. Many people need it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Yes. Thank you so much, Laura. And like I said, everyone who's listening, all of Laura's links will be in the description, in the show notes. And yeah, make sure to follow her on all of her social media. Thank you so much, everyone.
And thank you for having me.